Good afternoon, one and all. I am Advocate Pramod Sutar, Chief Convener of Sri Vasantrao Patil Lawyer Training Center. I welcome you on behalf of Sri Vasantrao Patil Lawyer Training Center, supported by Sangli Bar Association. This center was established in year 2019 in the honor of Sri Vasantrao Patil, who was renowned criminal lawyer and ex-president of Sangli Bar Association. The center was established to upgrade the legal knowledge and overall development of budding lawyers. In spirit of achieving this aim, the center has till date arranged several lectures of renowned faculties, and today it's our great honor to put forth to you the webinar of the Honorable former Judge of Supreme Court, Honorable Justice Adarsh Kumar Goel sir. Thank you sir for joining us today. Now over to Advocate Kedar Patil sir.
It's my privilege to introduce Justice Adarsh Goel on this webinar. Justice Adarsh Goel started his practice at the Punjab and Haryana High Court. Later, he moved to Supreme Court of India. In the year 1999, Justice Adarsh Goel was designated as Senior Advocate by the Supreme Court of India. In the year 2001, Justice Adarsh Goel was elevated as a Judge of Punjab and Haryana High Court. In the year 2011, Justice Adarsh Goel shone as Chief Justice of Guwahati High Court, and in the year 2013, Justice Adarsh Goel shone as Chief Justice of Orissa High Court. In the year 2014, Justice Adarsh Goel was elevated as Judge of Supreme Court of India. As a Judge of Supreme Court of India, Justice Adarsh Goel has passed many more landmark cases. On 6th of July 2018, Justice Adarsh Goel was appointed as Chairman of National Green Tribunal. As a Chairman of National Green Tribunal, Justice Adarsh Goel has passed many more landmark cases including issues related to river Ganga and Yamuna. Today's subject is of such a kind wherein there is lack of knowledge and awareness even between us as lawyers. Justice Adarsh Goel will today enlighten us on this most interesting topic. I request Justice Adarsh Goel to address the webinar now. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me for this conference, which is very important and also connected to my present working. So, I find from the faces of Sangli Bar, which I have seen on the screen, very, very bright and young lawyers, and I'm very happy to see that. You have selected this topic of NGT legal profession. NGT is a tribunal under the NGT Act 2010. It's also basically replacement of the earlier court proceedings dealing with the environmental issues. Although constitutional courts, their jurisdiction remains as it was. So NGT deals with the environment. Basically, what is environment? We all understand in common sense, environment is the surroundings around us. And particularly, it is defined as including air, water, land, and relationship between the living beings and the nature. So this is very important because it's fine balance in the nature and human beings. This makes the life viable in this universe. As far as present knowledge goes, there is no life on any other planet except the Earth, and that life is because of the fine balance of the nature and the living being. There is a serious threat now. In the year 2019, 11,000 scientists of the world have addressed a joint letter to all the governments asking them to declare environmental emergency. They are perceiving a serious threat to the climate and to the life systems on the earth. In our country, from the ancient times, we have given great importance to environment. In all faiths, in all systems, if you remember 1972, the first international conference on environment, which is called Stockholm Conference, in which from from all countries in the world, there were heads of the states. And Prime Minister Indira Gandhi delivered a speech which is a classic speech out of the speeches of all other heads of the countries from the world. And her speech was started from Atharva Ved, which was thousands of years back. A quotation on environment. The quotation is take from the nature what you restore back, which led to sustainable development. So long back, we are now celebrating Guru Nanak Dev Ji's 500 years, 450 years of his birth. 1469 he was born. 550 years. Poland. So he in Japji Maharaj, where he has written his thoughts. He has mentioned Pavan Guru Pani Pita, Dharti Mahad, Dharti Mata. So this is how we have been describing earth and nature as mother. All the river systems as our mothers, Ganga Mata or other rivers. So this is the importance we had realized, or our ancient generations had realized the importance of environment. Now in the Western world, they started using the expression which in our Prime Minister's address of 1972, which was objected to, is that the man should exploit nature or man should conquer nature. And she quoted her own father, Jawaharlal Nehru's statement when Mount Everest, in the context of Mount Everest, when Hillary and they climbed Mount Everest, they said Mount Everest is conquered. So Jawaharlal Nehru objected to that. He says Mount Everest can never be. You can climb it, but you can't conquer it. So this thought that nature can be exploited or nature is subservient to human needs, that thought has resulted in all this damage. So the approach is not that man is the owner of everything and the nature is subservient. So that thought was required to be changed. For the first time in 1972, the whole world realized need for this change, and they adopted the concept of sustainable development, that man and nature have to live together. Needs of the human beings and needs of the nature both need to be respected. The needs of the next generation also needs to be respected. The water is not unlimited. The air quality cannot be destroyed beyond a limit. So therefore it is necessary to protect the water quality, and it is necessary to protect the air quality and land, which is mother. Why? Because the land is producing the food without which we can't survive. Without water we can't survive. Without breathing we can't survive. So these are the three major focus areas of environment for which the existing laws were required to be reviewed world over. So just after the Stockholm Conference of 1972, we enacted immediately after Stockholm Conference Water Protection Act. The Water Protection Act, to give effect to the Stockholm Conference, was that nobody can be allowed to pollute water. The standards of water quality, BOD, COD, etc., were laid down because water sustains the life not only of human beings but also the aquatic life, the fish or the other living beings in the water. So nobody was allowed to discharge polluted water into the drains or river systems or on the land, because this will lead to pollution and this will lead to killing of the aquatic life and depriving human beings of access to drinking water. So this happened in 1974, that means 46 years back. But what is the situation today? Situation is extremely bad, to which I will come. That is because our failure of enforcing the rule of law or the mandate of the Water Act, which makes it a criminal offense to discharge polluted water either from industry or from sewage or from any other source into the river system or drain system or in the land. If you throw it on the land, then it affects the groundwater. The whole water system is interconnected. If you pollute the groundwater, then that also will deprive people, because major source of drinking is from the tube wells, and it also affects the food chain, because water is the major source of irrigation. And Maharashtra is worst hit. People in Aurangabad area, they can see how much scarcity of water has affected. And that is also one is we have polluted the groundwater, we have polluted the surface water, and plus we are not harvesting the rainwater, we are not managing the water properly. The water bodies have been destroyed and encroached to raise buildings. So water bodies are necessary for microclimate, and water bodies are used for recharging the groundwater. So that's another threat. I'll come to it little later. So after 1974, in the 1974, they set up a regulatory regime of pollution boards in all the states to make policies for protection of of water and preventing the pollution of water. And at the national level, Central Pollution Control Board was set up. Those pollution boards have never been properly manned. They have never worked to the satisfaction of the people. They have not done their duty the way it was required. Thereafter, air pollution need was felt because of discharge of toxic gases from various industries or from other sources, including vehicles, including the thermal power stations, etc. Wherever there is a burning of carbon or carbon production is there, that affects the air quality or oxygen in the air quality. And various gases also affect the climate. Greenhouse gases affect the climate. So climate change threat is a real threat. In Paris Agreement of 2015, in which 196 countries have realized how serious threat climate change is, because if there is a climate change, coastal areas will be worst affected. There will be total chaos. Wherever no rain is taking place, there will be heavy rain. And wherever today rains are taking place, no rain will take place. The level of sea will rise and the coastal regions will be totally destroyed. The glaciers will melt, etc. So 1981 Air Act was separately enacted when more and more need was felt. After 1984, big event in India, that was Bhopal gas tragedy. We enacted 1986 Environment Protection Act, which is umbrella legislation enabling central government to set up any number of authorities dealing with different subjects, like coastal zone authority is set up, like water authority is set up, and the rules have been framed: waste management rules, solid waste management rule, and hazardous waste management rule, e-waste management rule, construction and demolition waste management rules, plastic waste management rules, biomedical waste management rules. So various rules have been framed under the Environment Protection Act, making violation of each and every rule criminal offense. And Supreme Court in 1996, Supreme Court was very proactive and gave some important decisions in the light of international conventions, which were held to be applicable to India by virtue of being part of Article 21, which is right to life. And the principles, major principles of environment law were evolved in the light of those conventions. The three major principles are sustainable development principle, precautionary principle, and polluter pays principle. So world over, there was a demand that there should be specialized courts or specialized tribunals to deal with environmental laws. And on account of that demand, in 2010, Indian Parliament enacted NGT Act 2010. So the NGT Act, the major provision in the NGT Act is constituting this tribunal where there are judicial members as well as expert members. Expert members are environmental scientists or engineers, and judicial members are former judges. So there has to be a bench of at least two, one judicial member, one expert member. And the power of the tribunal is to award compensation to the victim of environment pollution or restoration of the environment, damage to the environment by passing appropriate orders. And the orders of the NGT are decree executable like a civil court decree. And violation of the NGT decree is also a criminal offense by itself, which is punishable, for which there can be imprisonment as well as fine. Then NGT can award compensation, as I have already mentioned. Then it is also an appellate forum supposing some environmental clearance has been given. Sustainable development and precautionary principle require that before you start an activity which has potential of environment damage, it must be evaluated by experts. What will be the impact? Supposing there are certain categories which have obvious impact. Those categories are mentioned in Environment Impact Assessment Notification issued by under the Environment Protection Act, requiring that you can't start the activity unless you take environment clearance, which is called EC. So EC in big projects requires public participation and public hearing also. And EIA is a process, environment impact assessment process by Environment Expert Committee, where they examine what will be the impact on the air quality, on the water, on the wildlife, and on other parts of the environment. Only then environment impact assessment, environment clearance is granted. After environment clearance is granted, then that environment clearance can be challenged by way of a statutory appeal before NGT. Or these are the basically two provisions. One is section 14-15, which talk of giving compensation. The other is section 16, which is talks of an appeal by agreed party against order of the central government or order of any pollution board or any other authority. So this is the highest appellate tribunal and also having original jurisdiction to award, to issue an injunction against a particular activity or to issue a positive direction of closing a particular activity or granting compensation. So broadly, NGT under section 20 is guided by sustainable development precautionary principle and polluter pays principle. These principles are now statutory. Like we have fundamental rights in part 3 of the Constitution, which is enforced by a writ, order or direction. So for enforcing these three principles, which practically cover the entire field, the NGT can issue appropriate writ, order or direction. It is not called writ, order or direction. It is called an order ordering the environment or order for giving compensation. So briefly, this is the jurisdiction. CPC as such is not applicable. You can follow the natural justice. So before I ask you to, before we go to the question answer, two or three more I want to tell you, because there is other part of this topic is apart from NGT, it is NGT and legal profession. So legal profession is the most noble profession and trustee of the people's rights. So, and rule of law. It is the legal profession which is to protect the rule of law. Without legal profession, there cannot be any rule of law in any country. So strong and independent bar, like Sangli Bar, is the need of the hour for protecting people's right. People's right is right of human rights or right to life are the basic rights. And right to live in clean environment is also a fundamental right, a constitutional right, and a statutory right, which legal profession is to protect. Because no court or tribunal can function unless there is an assistance of legal profession. It is the advocate who will bring about the problem, who will articulate the problem, who will support it with law, and then the court, on being appreciating that, will issue direction. So NGT is seriously handicapped. NGT is not getting the support from the legal profession as it needs. The reason is that generally people are suffering from pollution, but then it is not individual who is suffering. And Those people who are suffering, they have no voice. They can't afford to hire a lawyer. They can't afford to collect material. Therefore, very few lawyers are coming to raise the environmental issues. And sometimes some people may be coming, some NGOs may be coming, some advocates may be coming. They may have their private interests in mind sometimes. Supposing there is a conflict with a business rival. So if that business rival is to be closed, they will come to NGT that this industry is violating environment law, conduct an inspection, and they will make all sort of allegations. Sometimes they are true. Therefore, whatever type of complaints come, we still investigate. But for very serious violations, we find very less number of grievances coming through the bar. I just want to mention 2 or 3 serious violations of the country level, which concern everyone, and I request the Sangli bar to take up at least some of the matters. Why? Because the procedure is now very simplified. If you go to the NGT website, we have said that you can upload a complaint on your system anywhere from the country and also pay court fee online, and your petition can be heard. And we can hear you from at the video even before the present crisis arose, because we don't have sufficient members. So with regard to particularly Pune, we have a bench, but we don't have any member in the Pune bench because no members are appointed by the government. Therefore, for the last 2 years, we are hearing the matters by video wherever a person wants to be heard from Pune bench. Wherever a person wants to lodge complaint, he can find the complaint online, need not come, no hard copy is required. You can just file online and the complaint can be considered. Even if the lawyer doesn't come physically, he files a written submission, that can be considered. So the issues which I now want to bring to your notice, which are very serious and practical. So far, I have told you many theoretical things which may or may not be of interest to you. This is a background. But I now want to tell things how you are affected as a citizen, and how you can rectify it. That's a role not only as a lawyer, but as also citizens and as human beings. Now, first problem I am highlighting is the problem of legacy waste. That's a technical term for accumulated waste, municipal solid waste. I am not aware in Sangli. I am sure that there must be some waste dump site where a lot of garbage will be collected, because waste is naturally collected. In Bombay, there is Devnar waste dump site. In Delhi, there is Gazipur or Bhalaswa waste dump sites. In Delhi, 280 crore ton garbage is compiled, and it is a source of great threat to human life and public. And throughout India, there are 4,000 dump sites, almost in every. There is a waste collected which municipal corporations are not able to handle. And on account of that collection, leachate takes place. Lot of public land is occupied, and the leachate affects the groundwater and soil quality. And then the garbage, collected garbage, number of gases and foul smell, which is a hazard to people living nearby or passing nearby. And that problem is throughout India, and very, very few people raise that objection or move the NGT for that purpose. But of course, we have taken suo moto cognizance of this problem and some other problems and called chief secretaries of all the states, because this is in violation of law, this is in violation of Supreme Court judgments. So we called on the chief secretaries why the state should not be prosecuted, because it's a state's obligation, because it affects right to life. And they say we don't have funds, etc. Funds cannot be an issue when there is a right to life. For saving the life of the citizens, they have to spend funds if necessary on polluter pays principle. Funds can be collected from people and are already collected by the local bodies from the people, but there is no management of the funds properly, and therefore the garbage is not properly handled. That's one serious problem. Apart from the current collection of garbage in a scientific way, this dump sites, which is called legacy waste dump sites, means It is already collected. What do? We are collecting day to day, but this is already collected. Means already collected means we have collected it, and that also is to be tackled. Under the statutory solid waste management rules of 2016, the 5 years timeline was given, which is expiring in April 21. But the work has not commenced at most of the places. So we called the 35 chief secretaries on different days in the NGT, recorded their undertaking. We will do it in 1 year. That 1 year is also over. And second round of chief secretaries have also come. Maharashtra chief secretary informed us that in Maharashtra, in all the cities, garbage dump, legacy waste dump sites clearance process has started. So that is the information we were given. Hopefully, if that is correct, that would be a great success if that legacy waste dump sites are cleared and thereafter current waste is handled. Apart from the solid waste, there is a serious complications on account of medical waste. People don't want to go to hospital, not only because treatments are very costly, but hospitals are also centers of infection because the waste generated there can be very hazardous. So this is one issue. The second issue I want to bring to your knowledge is the liquid waste. We have, according to official statistics, 351 polluted river cities. And there was a film made in 1984 which was called Ram Teri Ganga Maili Ho Gayi. There, of course, the title was this, but the theme was not Ganga River. But that's a fact that Ganga River, which is treated as mother, which is treated so pious, and people consume the water, has become so dirty that beyond Rishikesh, the water is not fit for consumption. Now, because of COVID, people say in Haridwar, the water has become fit for consumption. In Kumbh time, they made the water fit for consumption for a few days by taking stringent measures by closing the polluting industries, etc., in the area and increasing the flow of water. So the fact remains that 73% sewage which is generated in India remains untreated and is going to the rivers, polluting the river water. Many industries are discharging industrial pollutants into the water bodies, which are finally going to the rivers, which is manifested. Online monitoring systems are there, and there are 351 river stretches which are officially declared polluted river stretches. Then coming to the air quality, there are 122 cities because air pollution, many vehicles, we do not have carrying capacity for so many vehicles which we are producing and which we are permitting. So there is a need to assess how many vehicles can be permitted. We don't have capacity to carry so much population also, density of population, which is concentrated in big cities. So unless we have proper planning, then we have slums which we regularize without proper facilities. And the result is that so many activities, so many polluting activities continue. It may be using plastic as a raw material. It may be using fuel, which may be coal or other things which generate so much carbon. So this is another issue of air pollution, which is very, very serious as on today, affecting, as per various estimates, lakhs and lakhs of deaths are taking place because of the airborne problems or because of waterborne problems. So apart from these two, industrial areas have certain specifications. We have set up exclusive industrial areas. There was a study undertaken in the light of international conventions in all the industrial areas with reference to water quality, air quality, and land, which is called Comprehensive Environment Pollution Index. In short, it is called CEPI index. So as per CEPI index, 100 industrial clusters in the whole country are polluted comprehensively. So there is hardly any industrial area which is compliant with the environment norms. So the result is the situation is so bad that how are you going to expand the industry? If you expand the industry, you are going to further add to the pollution. And how do you ensure sustainable development is a serious challenge where the assistance of legal profession is required. So I mentioned before you some of the problems, and the problems are so serious that solution is not in sight. The courts can issue directions or orders. Courts can't execute them. Execution is again with the use of funds or with the use of power of the state, with the executive, or the statutory monitoring has to take place, but hardly proper monitoring is taking place. We have some online air quality monitoring centers, some water quality centers, but those centers are clearly showing pollution taking place everywhere for which action is hardly taking place. The challenge before the authorities is they say if we close the industry, it will affect employment, it will affect generation of wealth, and how are we going to survive? We have seen during the lockdown how much economy has suffered, and that's also to an extent a serious point. Then the forests are also in danger, and unless there are forests, it is not possible to maintain the air quality, or it's not possible to maintain even the water, because forests contribute to life, forests contribute to air, water, and fertility. So these are some of the, I have only told you tip of the iceberg. The problems are very, very serious. This subject is very, very big. But in the limited time, in about half an hour, I have tried to compress everything and place before you whatever is I consider to be relevant for this topic. Basically, there is need to change the lifestyle. There is need to change attitude. There is need to take responsibility and ownership. There is a need for the government and citizens both to be aware and to cooperate and coordinate. Thank you.
Deepa ma'am, please take over.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for the enlightening speech. This is Professor Deepa Vagyani putting forth the questions raised by our participants. The first question goes, sir, from Advocate Sudatta Patil. Though NGT has taken stringent actions for environmental protection since its inception, but on popularity meter, it's hardly talked about or known to layman. What could be done to create awareness? Your take on it, sir.
Perhaps it is wrong to assume that NGT has done substantial work. I don't think we have been able to do that much work. I have told you the problems, serious problems are there. People see the problem. If you see these days, there is a problem of migrant laborer on TV. Every time they are showing people are not getting food. And if we say that everybody in India is getting food, nobody is going to believe it. So NGT has done means decided whichever cases come, we decide them. But deciding those cases is not adequate for protection of environment. When you see air quality, when you are breathing foul air or polluted air or drinking polluted water, everybody is now using bottles. At one time, people could take water from the pond, from the river, or take bath into rivers, or consume any water. But now it is not safe. Nobody will consume water unless there is a bottled water when you go from home, or you have piped supply water. But how much percentage of citizens are getting piped supply water in the country is a question. Therefore, whatever NGT has done, there is a hard reality that people don't have access to clean drinking water in their homes. Substantial population doesn't. Substantial population living in cities doesn't have fresh air to breathe. And fresh air can't be manufactured in a factory, nor fresh water can be. So fresh air can be, there is a conflict. On the one hand, everybody wants comforts, everybody wants vehicles, and on the other hand, everybody wants clean air. If you want comforts, you can't have clean air because our area cannot sustain generation of foul air and availability of fresh air. Availability of fresh air is also limited. So to the extent we are destroying it, No NGT can provide you fresh air unless all the sources of polluting of air are stopped. Like we have problem of crop burning. Because of for having next crop, we burn the crop residue, which creates smoke. We have factories which create smoke. We have vehicles which create smoke. How is that smoke going to be dealt with by any law? It may be brick kilns, it may be stone crushers, or it may be other activity, it may be mining, which is creating the dust, or it is creating the smoke. Unless these sources can be checked or controlled, and controlling it will affect economic activities. So how far do we go in checking that economic activity or comforts of human being? We are all having air conditioner. Air conditioner is also releasing gases. So all these activities, we generate electricity from coal. Coal is our major source of energy. How are we going to control the smoke which is going to be generated? Plastic, it's another source of polluting the air quality. Therefore, however NGT may do, unless it matches or unless it neutralizes the impact of pollution caused by the air. And then I have told you about the water. We have 37% capacity in the country to treat the 37% of the sewage which is generated. 73% sewage which is generated is discharged into the rivers. So unless it stops, nobody can have magic of cleaning the rivers. It may be Ganga, it may be Narmada, it may be any river. 351 river stretches are polluted because we are discharging our untreated sewage into the rivers.
Yes.
The magnitude of the problem is very big.
Thank you, sir. The introspection is much needed. I agree. The next question is coming from Advocate Pramod Bhokre. The predecessors of NGT have proved little disappointing. NGT is 10 years old. So, where do you see NGT in near future on the horizon of environmental justice?
See, NGT is not 10 years old. NGT as an establishment may be 10 years old. NGT is successor of a legal system which was earlier being handled either by High Court or by other courts. So therefore, polluted air was covered by nuisance, or pollution of water was also covered by various penal code provisions, IPC or CRPC 133, and action could be taken, was taken. But the magnitude of the problem increased. Therefore, a specialized tribunal has been set up. The tribunal is hardly adequate because there is problems are there in every city or every village. But we have total 5 benches. The NGT Act says that there will be minimum 20, maximum 40 members. But at the moment we have 8 members total, and out of 8 members, 3 are retiring. So with the result, we have set up 5 benches, but out of 5, 3 benches are, for the last 2 years, they are locked. Calcutta, Bhopal and Pune, they are locked. Not even once any sitting has taken place because there were no members. So unless minimum 20, which statute guarantees, but even 20 may not be enough in a big country like India. Unless minimum 20 members are appointed, NGT can't be as effective as it is expected to be.
Agreed, sir. We need infrastructure as well. Next question, which is coming from Advocate Priyanka Rane Patil. I must say, sir, a little bold question. The question runs as, many a times a power struggle is seen between NGT and governments. How you answer the situations where executive tries to overreach or puts excessive interference, sir?
That power, it's not as such, I may not call it as a power struggle, but I may call it as a conflict of interest. And that conflict of interest is not in government and NGT alone, but also citizens. Because citizens who want clean air, they also have to stop polluting the air. If you want clean water, you have also to stop polluting the water. We want to keep our backyard clean, but are we not generating waste? And also every type of waste, it may be medical waste, it may be hazardous waste. Ultimately, who is creating the problem? The problem is not created by nature. It's a man-made, and government, of course, is accountable or responsible, being welfare state, to guarantee right to life. And government is unable to cope up with. Or government's resources or government's infrastructure perhaps is not adequate, or financial resources are not adequate, or they are not able to take burn to the extent it is necessary. But no governance can be enough unless citizens also take.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are, Deepa.
Sir,
Sir has been disconnected.
just
Sir's voice
This
is not
video has
audible.
been, yeah. So, says voice and no, voice is not audible. I can
Sir,
see him. Yeah.
sir, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Yes. Sorry for the
Yes, sir.
interruption, sir. Sorry for the interruption. Thank you, sir, for that answer. And I must say, more power to NGT. The next question is coming from Advocate Dr. Sheetal Babar. How does the NGT functions in the absence of full strength of judicial and expert members? I think you have enlightened us on the point, sir, but I would request you to repeat that you all are working with the video conferencing and all that for the purpose.
I will tell you there are 2 or 3 handicaps. Not only the members, but also I think, supposing the Maharashtra state has a bench only in Pune, but nothing in Aurangabad, nothing in Nagpur, nothing in Maharashtra is a big state. And Pune bench is a zonal bench for Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Goa. And minimum 4 members are expected to be there, but not even 1 member is there for Maharashtra as on today. But even if you have 4 members, that may not be enough, because people want to have access to justice at the closest to their place. Supposing you are in Sangli court, why Sangli court should not have jurisdiction? If you want to include Sangli court's jurisdiction and have a special tribunal, it should be equally effective, means its branch must be available in Sangli also. Otherwise, don't exclude Sangli court's jurisdiction.
Yes, yes.
So
That can be.
this is one challenge. Of course, it's not that at the moment I've told you we don't have many cases. For the last 2 months, not a single case is filed in NGT, even though we have allowed filing of cases online. You can file from your laptop, you can file from your mobile, but there is no filing. There's no adequate filing. We don't have pendency. We have total 3,000 pendency in the whole country. That means 500 each on the zonal benches and 1,000 total in the principal bench. We are able to decide quickly because somebody points out pollution is taking place. All that we can say is stop this pollution. We verify, we get a report, and then we pass an order. So NGT is not taking any much time. These are not complicated legal issues.
Agreed, sir.
But the problem is people have difficulty in accessing NGT because of distance. And of course, if there are more members, then the distance can be covered by at least filling up vacancies in all the benches.
Hopefully, in near future,
having
we are
circuit-
getting it, sir. Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So the next question is from Dr. Narendra Javle. What will be the role of NGT after the corona pandemic? Will the cases be looked differently since we have many incidents to show that Mother Earth is healing? For example, Ganga pollution has been reduced a lot. What's your take on it, sir?
This is a fact that on account of stopping of industry. Industrial pollution is not taking place because there is no discharge. Liquor industry, for example, if it is closed, the water industry, if it is closed, so they are not discharging the pollutants. But once the industry starts, the situation will be same. As I have told you, it's a man-made problem. If man-made activities are not taking place, the problem is not there. The river is clean. But you are, what are you doing is, you are polluting the surface water as well as the groundwater by your industrial activity. In the industrial activity, various chemicals are used, hazardous chemicals, and they are finally making drugs, for example, liquid drugs or solid drugs. Various chemicals are used. So many pollutants are used, and those pollutants are finally discharged into the rivers. If those activities are not taking place, wherever industrial activity is not there, the water is not polluted, except sewage is second factor. Sewage needs to be treated. Sewage can be treated in a natural way also, which doesn't require investment, by natural plants also. So, but then that's a matter of how much effective our governance system is, how much effective our policing is. So all our systems need to be strengthened.
Yes, agreed, sir. So the next question is coming from law student Aniket Sharma. Even NGT being a quasi-judicial body whose purpose is speedy disposal of issues relating to environment, we as law students do not understand how to get instant results when something like RA colony deforestation issues come up and trees were cut.
There is no problem of quick justice in NGT because we don't have any long pending cases at all. They are attended very promptly. File a case today, it will be heard today and decided. There's no problem of pendency here. RA, etc., that's individual cases which are decided based on the material on record. NGT is not quasi-judicial, it is very much judicial. It's not quasi-executive and quasi-judicial, it's a exclusively judicial work it is doing.
Yes, sir. So the next question is coming from Advocate Santosh Kore. The new lawyer starts practice in any stream, civil, criminal, consumer, by applying parameter of money, name and fame. What would be your message to motivate green practice, sir?
I agree with you. It is not about lawyer. It is the whole approach in commercial world, today's world, because money has great importance. That thinking needs to be changed to some extent. I don't say that it is possible to survive without money. I don't blame the lawyers who go for money and fame. That's a natural instinct. But certainly, money, fame cannot be the sole motive. The motive has to be both. Both are required. We have in our shastras or systems, dharam, arth, kam, moksha. Ultimately is the moksha. Moksha is the liberation or happiness. But dharam is the code of conduct. And arth and kam are there. Means desires are there. Name and fame is arth and kam. Arth and kam is legitimate. But then it has to be controlled. It can't be unlimited. So you can't do it by violating ethics. You will have to have compassion. You will have to serve your client sincerely. That is dharma. Without dharma, you can't have moksha. So kam and moksha must be controlled by dharma. Kam and earth and kam has to be controlled by dharma and moksha.
Thank you, sir, for the motivating words. Thank you so much. The next question is from a law student, Manjiri Sawan. Does the court offer internship? If yes, from where the interested people can seek information?
We permit internship, and we have large number of interns regularly coming to us. They can email on the website of NGT. They can come. We are liberal in permitting as many interns as like to come. They are very happy, those who come and see the working, because NGT may not offer so much money young lawyers, but it is interesting, it is connected to life. So I may not be able to say that you exclusively can. There are few lawyers exclusively working in NGT, very few. I went to Pune because we wanted to start Pune bench, but because of this coronavirus, we could not start because we are in a position to spare now 2 members, provided the Pune situation permits. And I went there, I met the lawyers. There are 4 or 5 lawyers who are exclusively working in NGT. So whatever is the reason they have work, they can sustain themselves with the NGT work. But NGT doesn't have so much work which can sustain so many lawyers. But certainly those who want to do internship, they are most welcome. Any number of persons doing internship are welcome. But our Pune bench is not at the most at the time for the time being working. If you want to come to Delhi, you are most welcome. Or Chennai bench is working at the moment. Pune bench we have proposed 1st July. If Corona situation permits, from 1st July, Pune bench will start working.
Thank you, sir. Again, a law student posing question, sir. The name is Harbinder Singh. India is at the bottom 10 in terms of environment protection. How can industry and the legal framework synergize to improve India's ranking without affecting growth?
This is a very interesting question, I must say. But this presumption may not be entirely correct. This was presumed because who is giving this ranking? The people who are giving ranking have their own motives. And it is our Prime Minister who took the lead in challenging this ranking. And he had a solid point in challenging. He said that yes, you are only looking at air quality and water. Certainly, this inferior air quality or water quality in India compared to advanced countries, but they have already generated greenhouse gases which have destroyed the climate or which have affected the climate in a serious way, which is much more serious than air quality. Now, if there are, of course, if there are no vehicles on the roads, then the air quality will be good. We are in Delhi, we are breathing very, very fresh air these days because there are no vehicles moving. But then, population of India is almost biggest in the world. Just from China, we have perhaps we have 134 crore, and China has 137 crore. 2 or 3 crore difference is there. But we have 20% of world population. Our resources are very, very less. So therefore, our system, our economy, our systems were of very simple life. When we don't generate much waste and we don't spend much so that everybody gets enough. Mahatma Gandhi said there is enough in this country, everybody's need, but not everybody's greed. So this is ultimate question that our modern generation, is the modern generation willing to live with simplicity with which our earlier generation lived? If they are able to live, we will be able to manage with the present resources and we will be able to come to the top. Otherwise, with less resources and with modern lifestyles, with generating more pollution and without capacity to treat it, this problem will remain there.
Yes, sir. Agreed, sir. Gandhian philosophy and lifestyle is warranted, sir. Sir, next question is coming from Advocate Abhinandan Vagyani, a quite technical question, sir. There being specific provision in the Act to challenge order of benches and tribunals to NGT, it is observed that litigant advocates prefer petitions in high courts under Article 226, and it is seen that even high courts entertaining such petitions. What is your say on it, sir?
Yes, our young friends, lawyers need to understand the legal situation. The legal situation is High Court and Supreme Courts are created under the Constitution. They are called constitutional courts and record. And judicial review by High Court and Supreme Court is held to be basic constitutional feature which cannot be altered even by Parliament. Therefore, constitutional jurisdiction of High Court and Supreme Court is there from the Constitution in the same way as jurisdiction of Parliament which comes from the Constitution. Parliament, being a creature of Constitution, can't take away that jurisdiction inherently in High Court and Supreme Court. Even while creating any statutory code tribunal. But then, even in exercise of constitutional jurisdiction, alternative remedy is always kept in mind. Once there is a specialized court, the law is that High Court will say, all right, you take remedy before a specialized court or tribunal. But then the specialized court or tribunal should be equally efficacious remedy. If the equally efficacious remedy is not there, there is no power High Court may have to, in its discretion, entertain, or High Court can relegate you to that remedy. But
Yes,
the
sir.
inherent jurisdiction is there; it's not excluded.
Yes, sir. Agreed, sir. Still, the time to clear perception that NGT is very much judicial body, sir. Sir, I just been through the chat box and there are many questions related to hierarchy of NGT, evidence entertained by NGT, and even the procedure followed.
Yes.
Can you enlighten on this, sir?
Yes, this is very, very important question, I will say, and very intelligent question. Procedure followed is natural justice, means the person against whom you are passing order you have to hear. But even that hearing part, to some extent, for we are expected statutorily to decide within 6 months. So what we are doing is, when we receive a complaint that there is a XYZ pollution at particular place, there are, apart from NGT, which is a judicial body, there are quasi-judicial bodies like pollution board, like local bodies, like different departments of the government. So we get factual and action taken report from those statutory bodies whose function is to take action when pollution is taking place. So we've asked the pollution board to find out whether this allegation is correct, visit the site, and sometimes, if necessary, we constitute a specialized technical team, some IIT professor, some NEERI engineer, and apart from any independent person, sometimes a retired judge, you go and verify. And once we get facts, then we also ask the pollution board. Pollution board has every power to stop pollution, to stop polluting activity, to recover compensation, etc. Then we ask pollution board, what have you done? And at that stage, we sometimes do not hear the polluter or the industry. We ask pollution board, you take action on this material. And if they don't take action, then appeal can be filed. Or if the action taken, there is a grievance against the action taken, then industry can come in appeal before NGT. Otherwise, NGT can also hear the industry at that very stage and take a decision. That's one thing. Evidence is any material. Evidence Act as such is not applicable, but any material which is considered to be relevant and credible can be acted upon.
Thank you so much for the guidance, sir. Sir, one last question. It's coming from Professor Dr. Ashok Yende from Mumbai University. Sir is asking, there are a number of drivers that contribute to the emergence and transmission of diseases like climate change, globalization, deforestation, etc. What lessons should we learn from COVID-19 and the role played by NGT?
So COVID-19 has told you have seen the Queen of England being affected, Prime Minister of England being affected, and any biggest person can be affected. Even power of the human being, as I remember the story of Alexander and the 3 last wishes of Alexander, you all know, you have read that story. Then Alexander became the conqueror of the world and he acquired all the wealth, but at the age of 30 or so, he died. And when he fell ill, the best doctors of the world could not save him. So he called his doctors and said, you note down my will, that when I die, my hand should be open outside the coffin. My coffin should be carried by doctors. And all gold should be spread over my dead body. So the idea is the human being is not all powerful. Human being can't conquer everything. So human being will have to ultimately accept the supremacy of the mother nature and treat nature with respect and not damage it for his own existence or benefit.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the valuable guidance, sir. I felt privileged and indeed indebted to you for the guidance you have given. I just request Advocate Rajen Mane to put forward the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, friends. It is my proud privilege to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of Sangli Bar Association Sangli, Advocate Vasantrao Patil Lawyers Training Center Sangli. It is the biggest change in the history of our Sangli Bar Association. I also thanks to the office bearers of Sangli Bar Association and conveyor committee members of the Advocate Vasantrao Patil Lawyers Training Center Sangli. I would also thanks to Deepa Vagyani, Advocate Sudat Patil, Advocate Kedar Patil, and also Advocate Vikram Parmar of Bombay High Court for giving technical support, and also all the participants. And special thanks to Justice Adarsh Kumar Goyal for giving us a very precious time. We express our heartfelt thanks to you, sir. Relation between human being and environment, water, air, land, various subjects you have touched, your honor. Coastal regions will be damaged, destroyed. Bhopal gas tragedy. Biomedical rules, criminal offences, CPC is not applicable. Legal profession is to protect the legal right. NGP website, uploadment of complaint, procedure, written submissions, all these things were not known to the lawyers who are working or who are rendering their services at a district place, sir. For expansion of industry, legal assistance is necessary. For the lawyers, contribution of forest, and there is a need of change of lifestyle. All these things which you have thrown a light on us, Your Honor. Every single of us will be benefited of the today's session. So I would like to close a vote of thanks. Thank you very much, sir.